Hello, welcome to another episode of Mr. Bench's Book Reviews. What's in the box today? Let's see. Here we are. It says MOOMIN. Sorry, dropped my box. It says MOOMIN and the Ocean Song, and it's by Tove Jansson. I think that's how you pronounce that. We know about the MOOMINs. This says, if you look closely, based on the original stories by, so it's not actually by the creator of the MOOMINs, which is sometimes a bit of a red flag, but it doesn't necessarily mean it will be terrible, so let's give it a fair chance. It says, A Tale of Moomin Valley. If you don't know the MOOMINs, they're these white things. Creatures. There are cartoons and evidently at least one book. There are loads of books, look out for other MOOMIN books. Okay, let's go. MOOMIN and the Ocean Song. Don't know if it says who the actual author is, if it's just based on the... This is copyright MOOMIN Characters TM, some sort of conglomerate. Okay, MOOMIN Troll, which I believe is another name for MOOMIN, this guy, was having a mending morning. That's a nice mending morning. Repairing the mast on the little bark schooner his mother had made for him. Pee-hoo, whistled MOOMIN cheerfully as he admired his handiwork. She'll sail beautifully now. Nice pictures as well here. There's the bark schooner. I don't know enough about boats to tell you if that's a proper schooner. One nice thing here, they're writing the M in MOOMIN and MOOMIN Troll slightly cursive manner. This makes it a bit interesting. Doesn't really affect legibility. Little Mai, that's this this person. I know this because I have some familiarity with the MOOMINs. Though, yeah, so that's Little Mai. Had been keeping MOOMIN company. See there, MOOMIN and MOOMIN Troll, I'm pretty sure it's the same guy. Secretly hoping to get her hands on the glue pot. Her eyes lit up at the sound of a loud crash. So she's very mischievous. What was that? Cried MOOMIN Troll. A catastrophe! Little Mai grinned and scampered off to investigate. There's a slight punctuation thing there, but I think you can manage. I don't know if pee-hoo is a normal whistle. I don't know if he's just going, and that's just meant to be pee-hoo, or if he's saying pee-hoo. Doesn't really matter. Okay, they seem to do this font for the first letter on every page, not just when it's MOOMIN. Like they do it for MOOMIN, but they also do it for page initial letters. It turned out to be MOOMIN Papa, P-A-P-P-A. That's how they spell that. While searching for his easel in the attic, he had knocked over a great stack of clutter. He was staring at one of the toppled boxes. Bless my tail, he said. They do have tails, MOOMINs. My old Discovery collection. MOOMIN Papa began rooting about in the box. He took out a splendid seashell. It's nice you have mending morning splendid seashell. Seems to be a thing. Held it to one ear and gave a happy sigh. Ah, the song of the ocean, still as clear as day after all these years. That's cool. So I'll just show you the pictures. Well, there is MOOMIN Papa, recognisable by his hat. And here's the clutter that's been knocked over. It matches, toppled boxes, and you have things like an ace, some sort of thing that looks a bit like the ace of spades, and it's on the next page too, which is nice. They've got consistency of the kinds of junk there. They don't draw on the ears on their faces. They just... wait a second. Well, that is a bit odd. If you look at Moomin Troll here, he is going to be on the top of his head. So like a cat or something. Not on the side. And yet Moomin Papa seems to be holding the shell to the side of his head. And if he is similarly built in terms of the placement of his sensory organs, then he should be doing this, really. Should be removing his hat. You won't hear anything like that. So that's a bit odd. They must have forgotten where the ears are when they were drawing him. Never mind. Yeah, here's Moomin Mama as well. Her ears are where Moomins are, so it'd be very odd if Moomin Papa's ears were anywhere else. Moomin Mama, there she is, had heard the crash too and came hurrying up the attic steps. Yeah, they said he was in the attic, so that's good. Little Mai had her ear pressed to Moomin Papa's seashell. There's Little Mai. Now, I think she is more human-like in form, so it's normal that her shell would be there. Humph! She snorted. I can't hear any silly old song. Even though she's got it next to her ear. Do you think she would have had a better chance of hearing it? Of course not, my dear, said Moomin Mama, relieved to find everyone unhurt. She's a classic mother, worried about people's well-being. Only a shell's finder can hear its song. That implies that the Papa found it, and that I guess is why it goes in his discovery collection, because he discovered it. Now come along, children. I think both Little Mai and Moomin Troll are supposed to be juveniles. Let's give Papa some time alone with his collection. I don't know if that just means he should tidy up his own junk, or if he wants to just hang out looking at these spades. Later that morning, Moomin Troll told Snork Maiden. Now, Snork Maiden is the girl. I'm pretty sure she's a Moomin as well. She has this tuft of hair, so you can recognise her. I think they're just friends. I don't think they're brother and sister. But I'm pretty sure Moomin Troll is meant to be a boy and Snork Maiden is meant to be a girl. Snork Maiden. Although Snorks could be a like a kind of closely related species. Anyway, but I mean they look very similar. So Moomin Troll told Snork Maiden about the shell as they took a stroll together. The ocean song? They're doing quite a lot in the morning then. I mean, because he'd already been having a mending morning earlier. So some of the morning had already passed. Then the catastrophe happened, and then later than so it must be almost lunchtime. The ocean's song, gasped Snork Maiden. How exciting! I wish I could hear it too. Unfortunately, she won't be able to, because only the shell's finder can hear its song. Seeing her delight, Moomin was struck by a bold idea. We could look for our own singing shells, he said. Well, that's good. He's been listening. He knows that they will need to find their own if they are to hear the song. Snork Maiden clasped her hands. Not to be confused with clapped her hands. She's clasping them there as well. I like the way the illustrations match. Oh yes, let's. We'll talk to Snufkin, said Moomin. He'll know the proper way to go about it. Snufkin is probably going to show up on the next page. Yep, there he is. He's a bloke with a hat who seems fairly intelligent. Certainly dresses more sensibly than the Moomins. Given the Nordic weather, I'm pretty sure these are based in Scandinavia. Either Sweden or Finland or somewhere. Though this one seems to be an English language original and not translated from any other language. Don't know if that's an indicator of quality. Sure enough, Snufkin had an idea of where to look. That's good. Lonely Island, he told Moomin. That could be a place for shells. There's all sorts of magic there. I don't know if a shell has to be magic, but maybe. Well, maybe if it has sounds that only the finder can hear, then there's something fishy going on there. Sniff. Now, they don't tell you who Sniff is, but Sniff is this person who looks a bit like a kangaroo. There doesn't seem to be a marsupial. Well, they could be. But I'm not sure exactly. Some sort of rodent, or probably a rodent, I would expect. Sniff pulled a face. But that's far out at sea, he squeaked. Any discovery worth making starts with a sea voyage, said Snufkin wisely. That's nice. That sounds like a sort of, almost a proverb. Only if you're living on the coast, and they presumably are because they live in something that looks, well, I guess that's not a lighthouse, it doesn't have a light. But they must be quite near the coast. Seem generally interested in shells and things. Any like schooners. I mean, they're definitely, not sure exactly where they live, but they definitely have an interest in maritime things. A discovery? Sniff perked up. You mean like treasure? He's not really been listening, has he? And so it was that just before noon. Okay, so it is still before noon. So you get a lot done in the morning, these Moomins. The four friends set sail in the Moomin family's little boat, the Adventure. Well, the boat's even called Adventure. Not sure. No, it was discoveries they were talking about earlier, not adventures. Before long, she was skimming over the open ocean. Okay, the ocean. So I guess they, I'm not sure if Scandinavia borders an ocean. I mean, they don't have to live. They probably live on like Moomin Island or something, which could be anywhere. So it's skimming. Don't know if their boat is a schooner. Looks fairly similar to the one that Moomin was mending earlier. Seems to have two. Yeah, it's quite a similar design actually. That's nice. I do like that actually. That's very positive. So there's their boat, and then if you go back to here, there's the schooner. What's his name was making, and so it's like he goes from almost, you know, like playing adventure to actually embarking on one over the open ocean. Land ahoy! Squealed Sniff. So he squeaked and now he's squealed. He loves these. With some relief. Lonely Island, said Snufkin, peering ahead. Right where it should be. Okay, well they've navigated nicely there. As they drew closer to the island shore, Snork Maiden's eyes widened. Oh, she gasped. Look! Two beautiful silver-maned creatures were frisking in the shallow water. Seahorses! Cried Moomin. Now, don't be confused. These are not your traditional seahorses. These are more like, look a bit like real horses, kind of. But they live in the sea. And they have silver manes and flowers on them. I'm not sure why the water is so like pink and red. That would be more what you'd expect at sunset. Also got to say, the sun's pretty low for noon. I can't really see it that well. It's around here. You'd expect it higher at noon. It may be winter. I don't know if they mentioned the time of year. A moment later, the shy creatures, that will be the seahorses, had spotted them and vanished below the waves. Okay, so they can swim underwater, it would appear. Together, the friends hauled the Adventure up onto the shore. Treasure hunt time! Squeaked Sniff. There's another squeak. So he's gone squeak, squeal, squeak. There were certainly all sorts of seashells. Moomin Troll keen to impress Snork Maiden. Seems to be a bit of a theme. They're probably friends, then they're probably not brother and sister. Sounds like he's attempting to win her good graces. Set about finding one like Moomin Papa's. But it was no use. Oh, it's a sad story. Moomin tried shell after shell, but none held the ocean's song. Only one made any noise at all, a faint tinkling when he shook it. Then a whistle from Snufkin made Moomin abandon his search. A fleet of tiny boats was sailing towards Lonely Island. They were crammed with small, thin, ghost-white figures. "Hattie fatteners," said Snufkin. Here are the Hattie fatteners. They're very unusual looking. I mean, they're the same colour as the Moomins, so you could say Moomin white figures, but ghost white. Keeping out of sight, the friends watched the fleet approach. Oh, that's tricky. I mean, if you have a line of sight to the Hattie fatteners, then you expect the Hattie fatteners to have a line of sight to you. But you can see they're kind of hiding behind these rocks, so they're hoping that they won't be spotted. There must be hundreds of them, whispered Snort Maiden. The first boats landed, their pale passengers glided silently ashore. Before long, the beach was crowded with Hattie fatteners, glowing faintly as they swayed. These Hattie fatteners all have like little briefcases with them, which is kind of cool. They are quite odd figures. Although maybe they're really normal in the Moomin universe. I don't know much about Hattie fatteners. I don't even know why they're called that. The Hattie fatteners began to drift away without a sound towards the centre of the island. Snufkin frowned. They only get together like this for one reason, he told Moomin, to recharge in a lightning storm. Oh wow, I didn't know they were things that needed to charge. They looked up at a sky rapidly darkening with grey cloud. Ooh, squealed Sniff. Okay, squealed again. Terrified. I knew a sea trip spelled trouble. I was excited earlier, but now he's switched to squealing. We should have checked Moomin Papa's barometer this morning, whispered Snort Maiden, a little afraid. Well, I guess they should have done if they were concerned about the expected changes in the weather, although the barometer was over on Moomin Island, whatever it's called, and they're now at Lonely Island, so it's possible the barometer wouldn't have helped them. Moomin was fascinated by the Hattie fatteners, and he still hadn't found the ocean's song. But when he saw Sniff quivering with fright, he knew he had to help his friends get home. Okay, so Moomin would have liked to stick around, but he's going to put his wishes on the back burner and help his friends. Well, isn't he a good chap? Moomin would never forget the homeward voyage. They tried to race the storm, but it easily overtook them. Lightning flickered, the rain lashed down, and the Adventure was tossed about by the churning sea. We'll all be drowned, wailed Sniff, clinging to the mast. Twice over. Well, he's wailing now, so it's developed from a squeal to a wail. He sounds quite upset. You can see on the boat, even though they seemed a bit miffed about a lot of the shells, they have taken some with them. Snort Maiden has got some there. Snufkin's got a couple in his pocket, and Moomin has got one. Doesn't look like Sniff actually took any treasure with him. He was a bit unhappy. It was a very wet, very bedraggled crew. Bedraggled is a cool word. Who reached the Moomin Valley landing stage. Okay, so it's Moomin Valley, is where they live. At last, as the storm finally moved on, they were all happy to be home. Once back at the Moomin house, all these words with Moomin, by the way, they're written as one word. It's like Moomin house, so Moomin is a prefix you can put on almost anything. Moomin Mama admired their island finds. What lovely shells, my dears. Moomin could not help wishing that one at least held the ocean's song. I guess if you were a person of ill morals, you could just say the ocean song was in it, because no one else would be able to verify that or repudiate it, if that's the word, because only the finder can hear it. So just say I found the shell, got the ocean song in it. But no, Moomin isn't doing that. He's sitting there, upset. A little sadly, he gave his own shell a shake to make it tinkle. And something small and silvery fell out onto the table. "That's a seahorse shoe," cried Moomin Papa. "Very rare, and a powerful good luck charm." That's nice, that little seahorse shoe. That's nice. Oh, they saw the seahorses earlier, so you knew there were seahorses in the area. That's cool. This has quite a lot going for it, this book, actually. I like the way the schooner went from the toy schooner to the real boat, and then you have the seahorse thread running through. You have sniffs, interjections, or at least his unique way of squealing and squeaking. Yeah, a good luck charm. Moomin Mama found a spare hat box of Moomin Papa's. I guess if he's almost always wearing one hat, then he would usually have one hat box to spare, in which to keep the little seahorse shoe safe. Although obviously if you keep the boxes, then your hats get damaged over time. You don't have to throw away the box just because your hat becomes tatty. In which to keep the little seahorse shoe safe. "It can be the start of your own discovery collection," said Snork Maiden. There's a clock now, which is nice. Now, both of the hands are fairly large, but it would appear to be 11:45, which is, I guess, nearly midnight. No, it must be 9 o'clock. I think, yeah, big hand, little hand. Not really easy to tell apart, but I think it must be nearly 9 o'clock in the evening now. It's quite late. Because, I mean, they had that big journey and stuff. And they've had some sort of tea. Yeah, you can see they're sitting around with cups and some sort of pastry. Yeah, so it's 9 in the evening, and he's going to start his own discovery collection. I'm not sure what else that is in it. He's got like a newspaper. I don't know if that's just like it's supposed to be some sort of lining for the box, or if he's also discovered a newspaper. Moomin felt very happy indeed, and so proud that he and his friends had brought home such a rare treasure. I like this way, proud that he and his friends. It shows the way he often thinks about himself as part of this group, and he's not just out on his own. He was quite sure that with its good luck to share, they would make many more exciting discoveries together, again, in the long summer days to come. Oh, so it is summer, so I'm not sure why the sun was that low. Could have just been the camera was at a weird angle. Deceptively. Yeah, it's a bit odd actually with the sun then. But I mean here it is 9 PM and the sun is still shining. So I guess it would suggest it is summer. If they are in the high north, then you get these sun barely sets in the summer. If they're in like the north of Finland. Yeah, and so yeah, I mean that page, sorry, you've got proud of he and his friends, good luck to share, and then making discoveries together. So it's 3 mentions of how much he values their friendship and togetherness, which is quite cool. Because in other places it sounded like he was just trying to show off in front of Snork Maiden. No, very nice ending. I think that book has a lot going for it. So my reservations that I initially had, the fact that it's only based on original stories, I think they've done a good job. Few little nice touches with the italic lettering. Hattie Fatners, pretty bizarre, but that's nice. I think the Moomins are supposed to be a little bit unusual. Certainly for someone like myself. It's possible that a lot of that is based in folk or fairy tale tradition of certain parts of Scandinavia, but that doesn't really matter. I think it's a good book. The only real criticism was the fact that Moomin Papa was holding, I think it was ear when his ear should have been up there. That is my main criticism. But other than that, a nice book, not too long, nice pictures, and good old Moomins. Happy to hear your comments. I don't have any more Moomin books, but I may be able to source them, so do let me know if you'd like another one, and I'll see what I can do. Otherwise, I will see you next time. Bye.